Yes, they're not there today because the person who hosts it is not in the building. She's like out at committee work today.
I had heard that Amelia is doing something else with the Ohio Writing Project. Like they're getting some training on that we're not. So I wondered if I could bring it up to Lori, if they could do what you're doing, like for the Appy hours.
Yeah, and if you like get me connected or have Lori get me connected with whoever's doing that, and if they don't know how to do it, I'll make sure I'm there to like help start it for them and do it. Yeah. So it's just all this is it runs through Google Plus. It's a Google Plus event, and it's just a hangout on air. So you it all runs through Google Plus. So yeah, so it'd be really easy to set up. Yeah. And if you wanted to be the one to like host it in the room here, I'll work with you too to make sure you know how to like pull it up and accept it and everything. Yeah. Okay. So we will go ahead and get started since you guys are already signed in. And today is the Appy Hour is on Piktochart. And before we dive into the actual site for Piktochart, I want to talk a little bit about infographics. Because really all Piktochart is one of a handful of websites that you can use to create infographics. So just in case you haven't seen an infographic, this is one that I just kind of broke up and chunked out a little bit to make it fit on the slide so you could actually read it. But an infographic is really just a way to visually represent information. So, you know, there's all different infographics and styles and things that you can use to create infographics and how you can make them look, but it's really a great way, really fast, quickly absorb all the information that you're trying to get. You know, some have more text than others. They all have a little bit of text to make sense, but you can use charts and graphs and just icons and images and just a very quick way to look and absorb the information. So it's a great tool for you to use, introducing a topic or going over, but really it's an awesome tool for students to create infographics. So if you think about kind of a different way, instead of just a written report or just a PowerPoint presentation or something, or even like an old school drawn poster, try to think about having them create an infographic, because then they're getting some technology skills, some design thinking. It's embedding a lot more into that output as well, synthesizing all the information. What's the most important? What do I need to include on this infographic? How can I represent this visually? So much more is going into this end product than just a written report or just drawing out a poster or something. So I kind of got ahead of myself. This is why I was talking a little bit more. And if you want to see any of these full infographics, they're linked. If you just click on any of those pictures, it'll take you to the actual source that I got it from. But so here, again, this is just kind of highlighting what I was talking about a little bit more. Over on the left, you can take a traditional written report and then illustrate it. So that's what I was just talking about there. So here I just want to show you real quick, just some quick images about what can that infographic look like. So, maybe if you're thinking, well, we don't really analyze a lot of data in my subject. Maybe you're an English teacher or something. Well, there's other things that you can do than just charts and data, like this timeline infographic. So great for social studies stuff. Location infographic. All kinds of maps you can include. A process infographic. Research and activities. And there I'm actually, if you have the presentation up, go ahead and click this link, or you can just type it in, this e-learning infographics with an s.com. And this is a website. Does anyone still need this link up? No? Okay. I'm going to actually pull the website up then. And this website aggregates all kinds of education infographics around the world. So I just wanted you guys to kind of take a minute and just kind of peruse through this site just to kind of get an idea and see all the different infographics and what those different styles look like, just so you can kind of start processing it in your mind, what all they can look like. And any good infographic is really going to have like the sources where they got that information down at the very bottom. So I always try to check that before I'm using it for something to make sure that it's a legit source. But I use this website a lot. I go, not even intending to, but now I start, when I'm like searching for different things, if I want to, find a good image for a presentation, and this site always comes up in searches, especially for education stuff. So once you're kind of finished, yeah, it's gotten really loud lately. Yeah, it's gotten really loud lately. It might need a new filter. The filter just might need to be thinned out or something. Okay, or Brooke's like having nightmares back there that the ball's gonna explode.
Yeah,
Okay, so when you're kind of done just taking a look at those different infographics, or you can just do a Google search for, education infographic or whatever topic you're going to teach. If you don't want to start out creating your own, you can always do a Google search for your topic to see if there's one out there. Like I said, double check sources at the bottom. But if you would go ahead and pull up in the Appy Hour group, the Schoology resources. And do you have a Schoology account for them here?
I don't know.
I'm sorry, what is your name?
This is Jason, the librarian.
Okay. I
heard the Wi-Fi's back up as of this morning.
didn't know it was I don't know if you do, but I'll make you one when we're finished so that you can get in there and kind of check it out. If you just want to kind of partner up with somebody else, you can see the resources and go through it. But so what I want you guys to do is in the Schoology group, again, because really there's not much to learning Piktochart. It's more about knowing kind of design elements and putting things together. Piktochart really just choose a template, drag and drop. So I wanted to spend more time actually talking about infographics themselves. So if you're in our Appy Hour group in the Piktochart folder, go ahead and it's the yellow folder, infographics in general. And I have all kinds of resources in here for you guys, just giving you some ideas about, different types of infographics that you could have students make or you could make. This first link talks about, it pulls out, and I think they're actually, I didn't read them very closely, but just the way the start of the article was written, I think these Common Core standards that this article talks about are actually from middle school. Again, I didn't read them very in depth, but it pulls out some Common Core standards and just shows you, where would an infographic make a lot of sense? Any kind of math standard that's talking about, representing data visually, etc. The state standard isn't going to say create an infographic. It's going to, so that article anyway pulls out different Common Core standards where infographics would be really useful for students to create. I've got maybe I'm getting confused with this middle school article in my head, but anyway, since you guys are all middle school that come to the Appy Hours, I pulled out a specific, infographics in the middle school classroom, just all kinds of resources here for you to use when creating infographics, or how you could use them. And then this black folder, things to consider when creating infographics, colors, fonts, and design. You guys, since you're a part of this group, if you wanted to have students create them, you could copy that folder into your class for your students. And this is just things to think about with color and putting fonts together, and to make sure that they're not doing like neon green font on top of a similar a yellow background or something. So it's just getting them some of that design thinking in the actual layout and visual piece of the infographic. So if you guys want to copy that black folder into your course for students to access as resources, you're more than welcome to do that. And if you need help with that, I can show you how to do that in Schoology too. But this is just kind of some resources, things to think about from the design perspective. And there's one I wanted to pull up. I liked this article in particular. I just wanted to pull up. This is actually a Piktochart blog. But they've got some good ones here. Giving infographics as a research model. And they've just kind of got some steps to take when going through it. Exploring rules or clarifying processes. So, and these are all Piktochart like templates too that you can choose from. Obviously, it's their blog. But so this one's really cool with kind of a decision tree or decision map. Making comparisons. Here's a little preview, London and Paris. And if you click on any of them, it would open up the full infographic if you guys were pulling it up. Sharing data, showing trends. Obviously, there's so many. Once we get in there, you'll see there's so many different types of charts that you can use. Visualizing a timeline. We kind of already talked about timeline. So again, just kind of, I feel like a lot of times people get stuck in this. You know, you can only use it to, you know, if you're collecting data or something. So I just try to make sure you guys have realize all the different ways that you can use infographics with your students. So wanted to make sure that you're aware of all of the resources here for you. So let's go ahead and actually jump out to Piktochart. And it is just piktochart.com. And you're going to go ahead and sign up. And I think you can actually use your Google account with this one too. Is that correct? Yeah, okay, awesome. So you can sign in with Google. And then let me just see, are you guys signed in? Did it already? Okay, let me just see where it takes you to first. So, okay. Awesome. Okay, same place as me. Okay, so the first thing that it's going to do when you're logged in is it is going to ask you to choose an overall format. So there's a few different things that you can do here. The presentation format's actually pretty cool. The size dimensions are more like a Google slide presentation or a PowerPoint, and you basically can use all of these Piktochart elements, but it's just more, you know, kind of a cooler looking presentation. So that's what the presentation is. The poster is just basically the size, and then a report, it makes it like a 2-page report. We're just gonna look at the infographic piece though. That's more of like the longer, skinny, more traditional infographic, but really to use any of these formats, all of the editing elements are gonna be the same. So when we choose infographic, then you're gonna scroll down, and with the free version, you have all of the free templates are going to be at the top. So if you scroll down too far, if it tells you to level up, that means you have to pay to use that template. But so you have a handful of template options here. And so let's just go ahead, or this, the create your own, the very first one, that would start you off with a blank slate. So if you have some extremely creative kids, or if you're extremely creative, you can start with a blank slate. I need some sort of template to start me off.
Ours is broken. You have to scroll down. Once you click it, it pops up.
So once you click it.
It doesn't
Oh no. So let's just go ahead, and you can just pick on any of them just for the sake of just to kind of see the design elements in here. So if you just click create, if you hit preview, it gives you another dialog box, and you can kind of scroll down and see the whole thing. And then hit create, or you can just hit create right there. No, don't do this to me. Are you guys getting this message?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're lucky. I have to connect to my phone's internet now. Sorry. This site, there's something has been changing with the filters. I don't know the details exactly to explain it to you, but it should not be blocked, and it won't be blocked. They're just figuring out why sometimes it tries to block it. So you'll be okay, but just Okay. And if you just wait, like when it does that to me, I've just had to wait a few minutes and then it will eventually like let me in again when I try to refresh the page. So I don't know exactly what's going on with that, but it should be fixed pretty soon. So when you're in the infographic, first and foremost, title's at the top. So if you just click in there to edit the title. And all of your sort of elements that you want to add, text, icons, lines, shapes, are going to be all the way over here to the left. So graphics gives you your different shapes and lines. There's all kinds of icons that you can search from. They categorize them, or you can actually just search right there. Sometimes the search is a little picky, like I added an S, I made something plural, and it told me there were no results, so I just deleted the S, and then it gave me like 5 different icons that fell under that. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're searching. Try a few different words, and be as least specific as you can. I found I've had the best luck. But so you can actually search for icons. There's all different kinds of stuff over here. They have some that look more like real images. Here, it'll give us a little pop-up version. So actual photographs that you could choose from right there. And then photo frames. So if you, like here, it's like a little cartoon, and then if you wanted to upload somebody's face right there, then it would be a real picture of their face, and then just like a little cartoon body there. So all kinds of fun stuff. So when you find something, any of these graphics or anything over here that you want to add, you just click on the block that you want it to add to. And then I just click my icon and boom, there it goes. So I guess I should have explained that first before I told you to click on a block, is that Piktochart categorizes these into blocks. So like how it's this one big long thing, it's each individual blocks, and that's just how it helps. It's easier to edit that way because they generally are longer than they are wide. So uploads, you can upload your own image, and it does keep a history of them in there. So if it's going to be like Glen Estie's logo or something, you wouldn't have to upload it every time. It'd be right there for you. Again, you select the box or the block that you want to add, and then you could click on your uploaded picture and it puts it right in there for you. If you want to change the background of a block, so like right now this one's white. If I wanted to make it this striped background, there we go. There's how you change the background of the color or of the block. If you want to add text, you just go to the text over here on the left. Tools. This is where you'll find if you want them to add any maps, graphs, it's under tools over on the left. So then when you click charts, you have all of these all the way over to the left. You'll see all the different types of charts you can add. So that's where they can get really creative in the types of charts that they have. One cool thing, if you see up here, they could just like copy and paste information from like a Google Sheet or from an Excel file into here, or you could. Or if you could hit dynamic data, it actually would let you use a Google Sheet. And so let's say that you had a form and you are collecting information from students. If you selected that dynamic data tab and used your sheet of the responses from the form, this would automatically update that data as forms were being submitted in the chart. So that's pretty cool that you can use that dynamic data. So then also over here to the right, the settings. This is where you can change like the colors. You can rearrange the legend, different actual chart features with the settings tab on any of the charts. It'll look that way. So all different kinds of charts here. And if it's going to remain online, they can put a video in there too, like a YouTube video. So that one wouldn't be good if you're going to be printing them, but if they're going to be submitting them online, then that video tab would be fine. Then when you select something, so like right now I have this text selected, Sorry, it gets kind of hard to see when I'm in the present mode because the screen resolution adjusts. But so then when I select it, if I want to change the color, the actual text, font size, anything, if you select a line, you'll get extra options up here that let you change it to like a dashed line, a solid line, how thick is the line. So basically all of those editing elements are going to be at the top once you select something. So you have to select the object or the text or the line, whatever it is, and then you'll get these up here to edit. When you have a block selected, you see this little menu that pops up over here to the left, this little black menu. If you need to add an additional block, so if there weren't enough in the template, that plus sign. If you want to move the block up or down to rearrange it, it's not going to let me do it for the top block. I can't move it up any further. Move it up above the block on top of it. That would move it down below the block underneath it. The numbers, the total number of blocks in this infographic right now. If you want to copy it and clone the block, and let's say you're just going to like change some colors on the next one or something, then that it looks like two little blocks next to each other. That would copy the block. The X deletes it. And then that really, I mean, it's just drag and drop, move it around. It's gonna, you know, then you get your squares to rechange the size. Here's a little tip for you, and this works in a lot of programs, not just Piktochart. But if you want to make, like, see how I just, you know, you can make it and then it's like really wide and it doesn't look right. If you want to maintain the proportions of, you know, make it bigger, but then you don't have to worry about making it too wide or skinny. Hold down the shift key while you pull on the corner, and that will maintain the same proportions for you. Hold down the shift while you drag and drop the corners, and that maintains the proportions. And like I said, works for more programs than just Piktochart. And that's really, I mean, that's really the power of Piktochart comes in with the content that you're adding, the design elements that you're bringing as far as how to add to Piktochart and edit and rearrange. That's really all there is to it. Pick your icon. It plugs it in, you resize. You can change the colors, text, size, all of that good stuff up at the top. And then your little block menu that shows up over to the left when you have a block selected. If you want to add new blocks, delete, move it up or down. Any questions on the editing piece? Okay, the best way to learn this is really just to play with it. Yeah, and I will say this is something, like, this isn't fast. It's not a fast. I have spent, you know, to be honest, hours on an info. Now that was one that I, like, you know, really cared about and was going to use for something or whatever. But I mean, you can spend hours on these, which is why it's such a great final project for students. To the last thing that I want to make sure to show you guys, you have a few options for sharing once you're complete. So if you hit the download tab, I always select the medium because I just think the larger the image, the better for resolution, depending on what you're going to use it for, so it doesn't get all pixely. So with all these level ups, that means you have to pay to use them. But the medium size works pretty well. I mean, unless you're going to try to print it giant size, you'd be fine with medium. It really, the file format doesn't matter. I prefer the PNG file. And then download is blocks. So if you want to actually print this for your kids, I would recommend that you download it as blocks, because then it's going to let you, each of those blocks that you edit in the infographic, it's going to save each of those individually. So like if you wanted to paste it into a Word document, you could then paste each page individually as a Word document. And I'll just pull up a quick example. With the curriculum department, we've been trying to work on actually.
I love it.
Yeah. Oh, good. Have you seen it?
Yes.
Yeah. This is the tool we use. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I don't think I wanted the landscape one. Oh well, it won't matter. It's just the way the page is.
Yeah, this is awesome.
So like this is a block, then this is a block, This is a block, and it just makes it a lot easier to put on a page. Otherwise, if it had saved is one big thing, it would be so skinny on the page that you couldn't read it. So that's why I say if you want to actually, you know, put it onto a Word document or a Google document and actually print it, or even save it and make it into a Google presentation or something, you'd want to flip that downloaded blocks on.
Because I could not read it the other way. Like it was
Yeah, just the thing, and
I couldn't read it.
Yeah, it looks like. No, I'm not gonna be able to find the picture. Oh, it's in. Oh, that's all messed up. I'm not gonna waste your time. Yeah, it's super tall and skinny. So if you want to print, download as blocks. Now, another way that you could save it, though, if you don't, I would recommend saving it, though, you know, and have your kids save it. Because think about any kind of portfolio work or anything, like that's awesome to have for your kids to have to show that they made that for you. That way you can make sure if you ever forget your password or, you know, anything happens, you didn't waste your time. You've got it saved. So I would always save it, download it, and save it for yourself and for your kids. But you can also, if you hit this publish, let's see, I don't want to publish this. If you hit publish, it will make it live. And then it will actually give you a link to share it. So if your students were creating them, you could have them publish, and then they would copy that and submit that link to you in Schoology. So you could create it as an assignment or a discussion board, and then just have them submit, like paste that link into the discussion board or hit the create tab and assignments and paste the link. So that's how you could get that very easily to grade it. Or you can also, if you guys remember like back with ThingLink, how we embedded a ThingLink right in a Schoology page. And I've got an example in your resources for you just so you can see like how it's embedded. But you can actually, if you make one for the kids or if you want to share theirs, since it's connected to my phone, it's going to be real slow. But it's actually embedded on this Schoology page. We'll give it a minute to load since my computer is connected to the phone. But this top code right here would let you embed it in a Schoology page. And if you forget how to do it, I've got the instructions for you in the presentation there too. Let's see. Oh, well, I promise it's embedded on the page. Are there any questions? I know it's sort of a lot for an Appy hour, but using the tool is really easy. Like I said, that's why I wanted to spend more time pointing out all of the resources for you on infographics in general, because that's really where more time needs to be spent than actually dragging and dropping. You guys good?
Yeah. I might email you later.
Yeah, no, please do. Yeah, absolutely, please do. If we want to have another Appy hour on this to just spend some time doing it, and you know, I'll just be here to help. Just that's what the voting's for. If you want that, just like type it in the comments and we can do that, or let me know, and it's for you guys. So, or if you just want to email me, I'll come out and work with you. Whatever, I'm absolutely here to do that too. So it's your guys' time. So you tell me what you need, you want. Okay? Cool. Yeah. Let me know if you guys have any questions. You're welcome.